Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is The Raptor, and welcome to the Season 11 finale of Who'd Win and Why. And this time we've got 4 of the most unique and most popular evil versions of the one and only Superman for a truly destructive battle royale. Bizarro, Cyborg Superman, Ultraman, and Superboy-Prime. These guys have all been able to give Supes a hard time during battle, but they're still incredibly different from one another nonetheless. And today it's time for me to decide who I think reigns supreme as the true menace of steel. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out! Alright, so first we're going to talk about Bizarro. Now there are technically a number of different Bizarros that we could focus on, but for the sake of keeping up with the times, today we'll be analyzing the most recent one, created by the Joker after he stole Mr. Miggs' Pitlick's powers. The Joker created this new Bizarro to be the evil parallel to Superman in his own Jokerized world image, and he naturally based him off of the previous incarnations, including giving him the Superman costume with a backwards S insignia and the creepy zombified look. The Joker was eventually defeated, however, and afterwards Bizarro became involved in many different conflicts across the DC universe, claiming the title of Bizarro #1. But after fighting Superman over and over and teaming up with his fair share of supervillains, Bizarro eventually realized that he was honestly just lonely, and would prefer to live a peaceful life alongside people of his kind. So he created his own planet, now commonly known as Bizarro World, home to Bizarro-like citizens, including parallels to various members of the Justice League. He's even hailed a hero on his new home, proving that he may be in fact more misunderstood than just an evil freak of nature. Bizarro's physical stats are extremely comparable to those of Superman, and he's repeatedly shown to be able to keep up with him relatively easily. This allows him to dish out and take attacks powerful enough to break planets on a normal day, and move and fly at speeds many times faster than light. But aside from strength, speed, and durability, Bizarro's powers when compared to Kal-El's are different, or to put it more accurately, opposite. Instead of heat vision and super freezing breath, Bizarro possesses the equally as intense Arctic vision and flame breath, where he shoots ice and frost from his eyes and projects fire and lava by breathing outwards at an opponent. Instead of X-ray vision that can see through anything except lead, Bizarro has X-ray vision that can see through only lead. And while Superman is obviously weak to green kryptonite, it is not deadly to Bizarro. And similarly, blue kryptonite, which has no effect on Superman, can kill Bizarro after enough exposure. But what might be the most interesting of his traits is that his powers are completely internal, meaning that he's not powered by a yellow sun's radiation or weakened by a red sun's radiation, so he can sustain himself as long as his stamina holds up. Bizarro can still be affected by a blue sun though, but instead of increasing his power, it gives him his trademark Bizarro vision, which actually allows him to grow Bizarro versions of real people including Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and even superheroes, although he mainly did this to create the rest of the population of Bizarro World, and he never uses it for strictly combative purposes, assuming he could even run into a blue sun to do so. Bizarro definitely has some incredible abilities, but he's not without his faults. Alongside blue kryptonite, Bizarro's overall intelligence level is extremely low despite his ability to process information at superhuman speeds, so he's not coming up with any amazing strategies anytime soon. He also clearly doesn't match Superman perfectly when looking at their general physical feats, but he's still got the power to keep up with some of the universe's greatest heroes, and you can bet that he's gonna go all out when it matters most. Alright, so now it's time to move over to Cyborg Superman. Hank Henshaw was originally an astronaut who was sent on a space mission by NASA, alongside his wife Terry and 2 other space explorers. Unfortunately, their shuttle was hit by a solar flare which exposed all of the passengers to a dangerous form of cosmic radiation, which caused some crazy things to happen to them. Hank's body was slowly decaying, Terry's body was starting to phase into another dimension, and the 2 other astronauts' bodies were destroyed, but their minds survived and they were able to telekinetically construct new physical forms. While the 2 did eventually die thanks to unrelated causes, Hank was able to save Terry from her dimensional shifting, though his body finished decaying shortly thereafter. But like his other deceased crew members, Hank's consciousness survived, and after he built himself a new robotic body, his wife couldn't really handle it too well, which led to her death. Understandably traumatized after everything, Hank began to develop the delusion that Superman was responsible for the initial solar flare based upon false claims. And once he beamed his mind into the birthing matrix that sent Superman to Earth from Krypton, he became even stronger than before and began his crusade to get revenge on the Man of Steel. Thanks to the birthing matrix, Cyborg Superman was able to replicate all of Superman's powers on the organic level, essentially becoming genetically identical to a Kryptonian. He's got the same ridiculous speed, power, and durability as Superman and other Kryptonians, and the flight, X-ray vision, heat vision, super breath, etc. are all there as well, and powered by yellow or blue sun radiation. But if that wasn't overpowered enough, he's got way more up his sleeves thanks to his technomorphic abilities. Cyborg Superman can morph the technological half of his body into nearly anything he can imagine, which he usually uses to repair damages mid-fight and to create energy-firing arm cannons. And this energy is no joke, as it's capable of one-shotting Superboy and, after a couple of blasts, taking out Booster Gold's force field. You know, the force field that can defend from seemingly everything. And his technology manipulation extends to all technology in his near vicinity, not just his body tech, to the point where it all becomes an extension of his mind, allowing him to construct whatever he wants to with full control over it. Of course, this makes Cyborg Superman very difficult to put down regardless of raw strength used against him. And even if his body faces annihilation, he's technically an energy being inside a robotic shell, like a Super Starscream if you will. So we can transfer his consciousness into another piece of machinery nearby and somehow recreate his old body after enough time, with his knowledge of technology and Kryptonian genetics. His cybernetic parts give him some other useful attributes, including a genius level intellect, computer hacking skills, and an eye that can visually perceive anything on the electromagnetic spectrum. Cyborg Superman is one hell of a threat to say the least, but just as his powers derive from Superman's DNA, so do his weaknesses. Enough exposure to green kryptonite can severely limit the physical capabilities that stem from his organic half, and the ionizing radiation that comes from a red sun can deplete those powers entirely. Yet despite the flaws, there are few who could outfight or outthink this solar superpowered technopath, who will stop at nothing to conquer his opponent. Next up on our list is Ultraman. Ultraman, aka Kal-El, is an alternate universe Superman that comes from Earth 3, a world full of backwards history and characters. Instead of the heroic Justice League, which includes Batman and Wonder Woman, you have the villainous crime syndicate with Owlman, Superwoman, and of course, Ultraman. Kal-El was born on the doomed planet Krypton and sent to Earth by his father, Jor-El. But unlike Kal-El, who was sent to Earth to be a hero for the people, Kal-El was sent as his father's last attempt to get revenge on the destroyer of Krypton known as the Anti-Monitor. And Kal-El's life pod taking him to Earth was specifically designed to condition him to become more hateful and vengeful. When he finally arrived on Earth, more specifically Smallville, Kansas, he was discovered by Johnny and Martha Kent, and he forced them to be his new parents by threatening them with his new powers. This arrangement didn't last for too long, however, as he killed them when he was just 7 years old. And as he grew up even more, he gained superb control over his powers and he used them for his own personal gain, eventually taking the name Ultraman, forming the crime syndicate, and creating a terrible world where evil reigns supreme, showing us just how lucky we are to have Superman on our side. Not only did Ultraman's origin affect his personality to be vastly different from Superman's, it also did the same to his power source. The Kryptonians of Earth 3 were able to acquire remarkable amounts of power by absorbing the radiation that was given off by Krypton, and this means that Ultraman actually gets his powers from green kryptonite, not the yellow sun. Just being in close proximity to kryptonite can slowly empower him, but he can speed up the process by consuming it and absorbing the radiation from inside his own body. Of course, if he doesn't get his hands on some kryptonite after too long, his power will slowly start to deplete, but it's likely that Ultraman carries some on him often to recharge in case he gets himself into a tough situation. And regardless of that, Ultraman can sustain himself for extremely long periods of time, and he possesses the same powers as Superman, proving to be his exact equal in physical combat. Aside from some differences in their lore, Superman and Ultraman are just about as similar as you could expect, and this applies to both power and special abilities. Super breath, heat vision, x-ray vision, super jumping, flight, super senses, the works. His mind can process information exponentially faster than a human's, and his body is practically invulnerable to most attacks that don't rival his own level of power. And this is the kind of power that can harm characters tough enough to survive planet-busting attacks and even the force of exploding stars. So you know the heat he's packing some serious heat. Ultraman may look like an unbeatable super tyrant at first glance, but his abilities technically can be weakened if he's exposed to yellow sunlight, leaving him vulnerable after enough time. And while he's no idiot in battle, he can sometimes go in with a pretty reckless approach and let his rage get the best of him at the worst of moments. But with everything else Kal-El has got, it's no wonder that only evil prevails on the dreadful planet known as Earth 3. And last but not least, we have Superboy-Prime. Originating from the Prime universe, Kal-El was born on Krypton to scientists Jor-El and his wife Lara. Not too long after Kal-El's birth, his father discovered that a solar flare that came from a nearby red sun wasn't too long from completely obliterating the planet, and Kal-El was the only Kryptonian that there was time to save. Jor-El placed his son inside of a teleportation device that took him away from the doomed planet, and he just so happened to end up on Earth, though the Earth's yellow sun didn't grant him superpowers unlike Superman. He was adopted by Jerry and Naomi Kent, who named him Clark, and Clark would live a nice, normal life on Earth. That is, until Clark saw a cosmic vortex appear in the sky that Superman flew out of, a character that Clark only knew from comic books starring fictional characters. He also happened to be wearing a Superman costume at the time. Somehow, this event caused Clark's Kryptonian solar-powered superpowers to take form, and he even aided Superman in saving Clark's hometown, and they both traveled to Superman's home universe and did some hero work together. But after Clark's home universe faced complete destruction, he started descending into madness and eventually transformed into a nigh unstoppable and mentally unstable murderer, all while keeping his childhood nickname, Superboy from Earth Prime. Superboy-Prime, also known as just Prime, gets all the same powers that Superman gets from a yellow or blue sun, which we don't need to go over again at this point, but there are some important finer details that are not to be overlooked. First off, Prime's sunlight absorption powers him up significantly faster than other Kryptonians, and this allows him to exert more power and expel more energy per attack. Thanks to this, and thanks to the fact that he wasn't affected by the Crisis on Infinite Earths event that rebooted nearly everything in 1986, Prime's feats and capabilities have reached incredible and sometimes even absurd levels. He's easily taken down multiple Kryptonians at once, fought on par with the Green Lantern who was carrying the embodiment of all willpower, shown to have faster reactions than some Speed Force users, and he survived attacks from the Anti-Monitor, who can just unmake matter. But even all of that pales in comparison to his most devastating technique, the retcon punch. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. Prime can throw a punch so hard that it can warp reality and literally reset events of the timeline, or even erase beings from existence by retconning them. At first, he was only shown to be able to do this when he was punching what were essentially the walls of reality. It's complicated, but later he broke out of the Phantom Zone with a single punch and appeared in another dimension, which retconned Beast Boy's entire origin story just because he was next to the impact, proving that he can perform this ability on a smaller scale simply by punching hard enough to break through dimensions, which he's done many times before. And what's just as scary, Prime does not possess a weakness to any form of kryptonite, nor is he vulnerable to the effects of magic, which practically no other Kryptonian character across the multiverse has any special resistance to. He's also worn a couple of special suits which have increased his power even further, though they were unfortunately both destroyed. While Superboy-Prime clearly has very few weak spots, we have seen him become weaker after getting exposed to red sun radiation just like other Kryptonians, so it's not impossible to slow him down. He's also not an amazing strategist, but then again, he doesn't need to be with so much raw power that barely anyone could comprehend. As soon as he lets loose, you're gonna need a miracle in order to stop him, and that is not something to take lightly. Alright, so now that I've gone over all of these characters, it's finally time for me to say who I think would win this battle. And this one's going to be analyzed a little differently than most other fights done on the show. While all of these guys do have their own impressive feats, it's also extremely important to note the origins of all of them and how they directly relate to Superman in terms of power and abilities, as those can be big tells regarding how they stack up against each other. In addition, I won't say who I think would win right off the bat, rather I'll simply describe each character's unique traits and gradually compare them to everyone else. With all that said, let's dive on into it. To be completely fair, all of these villains' powers relate to Superman's in one way or another, so there aren't going to be too many big gaps in terms of power. That being said though, it's fairly clear that out of the four, Bizarro falls at the bottom ever so slightly. Yes, he is extremely comparable to Superman just like all the others, and he does have a certain unpredictability factor considering his opposite special powers and weaknesses. But no matter how many people call him a perfect opposite copy, Bizarro is not some sort of exact duplicate of Superman that allows him to pull off all the same feats, considering how he was just willed into existence and not derived from Superman directly. And the fact that his self-sustenance doesn't appear to be as empowering as Kryptonian solar charging. This may not seem like a huge deal, and normally it wouldn't be, but out of the four combatants in this fight, Bizarro is usually the one who struggles the most against Superman for this reason. His level of power falls just short enough for him to be able to stand up to Superman, but not to be his exact equal. Even if we were to assume that this Bizarro is an exact copy of the original Bizarro created by Lex Luthor, which isn't really a fair assumption since their powers aren't exactly the same, that Bizarro was created by splicing the DNA of both Superman and Solomon Grundy, meaning that he wasn't full Superman anyway, and he was confirmed to be not as powerful or as tough as Superman. Plus, Bizarro is just an idiot who can't strategize for the life of him. Another reason why it's extremely unlikely he'd be able to compose himself long enough to take down an opponent who has similar power to him, let alone stand up to 3 of them all at once in a battle royale. Case in point, Bizarro is not getting very far in this fight, and while he doesn't fall short by much, in this kind of battle, it's more than enough to seal his fate. Compare all of this to Cyborg Superman, for instance. Along with his vastly superior intellect, this guy was able to copy all of Superman's abilities and physical traits on the organic level, as opposed to Bizarro, who has only partial Superman DNA at best. This gives him the exact same strength, speed, durability, and special powers as Superman, making him virtually identical to Superman in basically every way, definitely more so when compared to Bizarro. The same could be said for Ultraman, though for different reasons. Ultraman's power set obviously mirrors Superman's, considering that he's literally just the same Superman from another universe. Aside from personality, origin, power source, and weakness, there is nothing that differentiates the two, and like Cyborg Superman, he should be capable of pulling off all the same physical feats as regular Superman. However, while they're both very even in this way, Cyborg Superman is simply more than just another Superman. Regardless of what strengthens or weakens them, Cyborg Superman's technomorphing and electronic body hopping put him a significant step ahead of Bizarro and Ultraman in versatility and survivability. He can manipulate his own cyborg technology and essentially all the surrounding tech at once to create just about anything he wants to with enough time, including immensely powerful energy attacks. And if he is damaged, he can always use his technomorphing to repair himself. Hell, even if his body is fully destroyed, he could just transfer his consciousness into another piece of technology in his vicinity, and eventually build a new body just as powerful by replicating the Kryptonian genetic code. And with his genius-level intellect on top of that, Cyborg Superman is a much tougher opponent to work around, and it's hard to believe that Bizarro or Ultraman could counter his overwhelming control and presence to permanently take him out. With all of that said though, now we have Superboy-Prime, and just taking one look at who he is and what he's been able to pull off shows that the other 3 Supermen are in big trouble. Superboy-Prime is an alternate dimension Superman just like Ultraman is, but it's important to make clear that all of the Superman scaling done so far only apply to the post-crisis or modern version of Superman. Nothing absolutely insane like pre-crisis. However, Prime actually is an alternate version of pre-crisis Superman as he wasn't affected by the Crisis reboot. So that practically unbeatable version of Superman that can create new powers and sneeze away star systems is here, and he's angry. He's easily torn his way through multiple Green Lanterns. Wally West has said that he's way too fast for him. His normal strength and durability are easily comparable to characters like the Monitors and Monarch, who are at least universal by nature. His level of power is so far beyond his opponent's levels of power, in fact, that even with Cyborg Superman's nigh immortality, it's honestly still way more likely that Prime would put him down than be overpowered. Cyborg Superman doesn't have anything at his disposal that could outmatch him, and on the flip side, Prime could just punch hard enough to rip holes in their dimension and retcon him from existence as a byproduct. Or he could theoretically create new superpowers on the fly needed to get the job done in pre-crisis Superman fashion. These abilities are obviously more obscure, but they're still more reliable than any of his opponents killing him under any circumstances. He's just that strong. For heaven's sake, Prime has fought multiple Kryptonians and Flashes at once, and the only way that they were able to stop him was by having Bart Allen absorb the entirety of the universe's speed force. So even if this fight was 3 against 1, it still probably wouldn't be enough. And just to really hit it home, Prime doesn't possess as many weaknesses as the others, and the Yellow Sun boosts his power quicker than any of the other character's power sources, further cementing the idea that he's just a more powerful character. To put this in the most basic way possible, this is really just a fight between Superman, Superman minus, Superman plus, and Superman plus plus plus, or pre-Crisis Superman. That should be a pretty clear way of seeing how well they all stack up against one another. Overall, all of these characters are certainly worthy of taking on the last son of Krypton, but only one of them has the sheer ridiculous power that the other three could only dream of having. The only thing scarier than an evil Superman is an evil pre-Crisis Superman with almost no weaknesses, and Superboy-Prime shows us exactly what kind of craziness that entails. Unfortunately, not all Supermen are created equal, and we've got the best one right here coming straight out of Earth Prime. So, in my opinion, the winner is Superboy-Prime. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a huge like. I always appreciate the likes. You can leave your comments down in the comments below. Subscribe if you could too, that'd be amazing. Guys, we've done 11 seasons of this show, and I cannot be any happier right now. It is so amazing that we've come this far, and I am so excited for season 12. I'm gonna be honest though, it's probably gonna be a little bit before we get to season 12, because now I've started school, and it's busy as hell. But season 12 will be happening, and I hope you guys are just as excited for it as I am. So, that's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.